Hey guys, okay, so we're continuing on with Refuge Recovery, a Buddhist Path to Recovery from Addiction by Noah Levine, softcover, and here we are on page 15, if you have this book already, which would be awesome. The second truth inventory. Write an in-depth and detailed inventory about the difficulties that you have been trying to avoid. Investigate how craving for more pleasure and less pain led you into addiction. Once again, investigate how craving for more pleasure and less pain led you into addiction. Share the inventory with a trusted friend, a mentor, or a teacher and come to understand the cause of your addiction suffering. Let's look at the source of our sufferings and addictions. Remember that there is a difference between craving and desire. Craving is the thought and feeling that says, quote, I have to have it, I cannot be happy without it. Desire says, I want it, but will be fine with or without it. Craving for sense pleasures, of course, being the senses. Craving for sense pleasures seems to be the most prevalent cause of addiction. Most addicts have deep wells of pain in their past. Their addictions are manifested as ways to avoid or replace the suffering they have been through. Let's look deeply and carefully at our lives to see what may have led to our addiction. Answer each question in depth and detail. It is best to use a notebook that is dedicated solely for this process. Let's see. Let's look deeply and carefully at our lives to see what may have led to our addiction. And you see me slowing down a little bit there, just breathing, because it's a hard process. And all this stuff comes up as I read this, because I've done an incredible amount of work in that area, and my heart just gets heavy. Okay, my heart just gets heavy for my sisters and brothers out there that haven't, all of you out there, my sisters and brothers as I call you, that haven't and need to and may be about to. Hold on tight, it's worth it, and once you go through it, you will be liberated. Answer each question in depth and detail. It is best to use a notebook that is dedicated solely for this process. This inventory is also available as a worksheet at www.refugerecovery.org. Okay, so here we go with the questions. What are your most painful memories? Write about what happened, and how you have been carrying these memories with you. Go ahead, baby. Go ahead. How did your addiction affect those memories? Or how did those experiences affect your addiction? You repeat that one. What are your most painful memories? Write about what happened and how you have been carrying those memories with you. How did your addiction affect those memories? Or how did these experiences affect your addiction? He really wants to mess with the camera. Okay. Are these things that you have been keeping in? Are these things that you have been keeping in secrets or experiences that you swore you would never talk about? Question mark. Now is the time to let them out. I'm going to say that again. Now is the time to let them out. Your recovery depends on it. Was there violence or abuse in your home? Question mark. What did it feel like to be there? Question mark. And now, just so you know, there are different ways to quote unquote get to I was going to say skin a cat, but that's messed up. There are different ways to get to the top of the mountain. And what my soul is wanting to say, there's some of my subscribers, when I'm 1,000% sure, don't need to go through this. So for those subscribers, just know that send it to the people that you know that are still very heavily in addiction in whatever form, especially like meth or heroin or the such, those heavy addictions. Because I know that, especially working with my friend Tim, like seeing his work, there are ways, like sacred medicines and the such. And by the way, if ever any of you are interested in learning more about sacred medicines, find me on Facebook, Jeannette Amanda Gardea, and then Jeannette Amanda Amanda, and then Gardea Gardea. And then I will be able to connect with you there on Messenger and ask me about those, because I wish I had had these sacred medicines years ago. There are ways to accelerate that healing. There are still some work that I need to do, even with the help of the medicine and even with all of the previous work, which was extensive, that I've done. But that's also why I know I'm able to accept and receive whatever the universe brings at me. So it's a combination of things that brings me to the level-headedness, the not screwed upness that I've reached, and I recognize that. Now, this book, very specifically, I'm reading for the people that didn't have the opportunity to go about their growth, as I am being given the opportunity to go about my growth in the last 5-7 years. I went the hard way. And so it's for those people, because I know that they're out there. So this is for them. If you are enlightened in a different way and don't want to go delving into the depths of your past, I can understand, because I've seen it in action through sacred medicines. I've seen a person be broken and then 30 minutes later have died during that sacred medicine trip and come back alive. And I've seen it. I've seen it. It is not a miracle. I have witnessed it. So hooray. And I know that there are many people, hopefully more and more, they will have that avenue. But for other people, a majority of us, myself having been included in the process, this is for them. This is for you guys. And so moving on, I don't know why I need to say all that, but there you go. Were there any inappropriate sexual experiences? Well, there you go. That's why. Questions. Were you neglected in any way? What do you remember about that? Questions. Were there any inappropriate sexual experiences in your life? Abuse? Coercion? Rape? Molestation? Objectification? Exposure? What happened? Question. Is there a family history of addictions / alcoholism? What was it like growing up with that legacy? Question mark. How did it affect you? Question. When did you first feel like escaping your reality? Question. When did you start drinking / using / acting upon what would become your addictions? Question. When did it become a problem? Question. What's the thing that you were most afraid of? How did your addiction affect that fear? Question. Have you contemplated or tried to take your own life in an attempt to be rid of pain? When? What happened? How do you feel about being alive now? Question. How have addictive behaviors or substances been an escape from the realities of your life? Question. Are there difficulties in your life you wish to avoid facing? What are they? Is that connected with addictive craving? Question mark. Question. What are you attached to? Make a list. Name some of the specific sensory pleasures you crave. Again, sensory pleasures are, smell or touch or taste, etc. Sex, touch. Okay. Name some of the specific... Okay, do you use physical pleasure to avoid pain? Question mark. How? Question, do you intentionally create physical pain to control or avoid emotional pain? Cutting in the subject. How? Cutting, biting, extreme exercise. Question, how has pleasure seeking caused you suffering? Give some examples. Question, what could you have done differently when craving rather than attempting to satisfy it? Very valuable question right there. Question, what do you think you need to be happy? Have you ever asked yourself that one? Let's start today. Question, what material things do you think would complete you? Well, I think that's a trick question, but okay. Question, how is your happiness tied to your expectations? Oh, how is your happiness tied to your expectations? Do you indulge your addictions when you do get what you want? Do you? Question, how has the craving for success caused you suffering? Question, has failure led to relapse? Lastly, here is, what would your life look like if you were free from all forms of cravings? Take some time to reflect about that freedom, what that freedom would feel like. Remember, the end of craving does not mean the end of healthy passions and desires. I'm going to repeat that last one. Remember, the end of craving does not mean the end of healthy passions and desires. Passion and desires are healthy? Yeah, they can be. Absolutely. We're at 12 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and start chapter 3. Recovery is possible. Freedom from the suffering caused by addiction is attainable if we are ready and willing to take responsibility for our actions and to follow the eightfold path. As you enter this process and attend group meetings, you will connect with many others who have also suffered the consequences of addiction and are now recovering. Allow the group to inspire you and to show the possibilities of recovery. And I'm going to just pause right there. Having come from, I'm not even going to mention the name specific, but I'd done the meetings, and the meetings really kind of made me use more. So that's my personal experience. So when they talk about having to go to meetings here, my gut reacted like, I don't think so. But we're here to seek, and we're not going to judge. We're not going to compare. But in case that happened to you too right now when I read that, I know you are not alone there. But we will look to like. So we will see. As you enter this process and attend group meetings, you will connect with many others who have also suffered the consequences of addiction and are now recovering. Allow the group to inspire you and to show the possibilities of recovery, while also making room for the imperfections of some of the individuals within the group. Perhaps I didn't do that before. The good news is that we can fully recover from addictions. Yes, we can. We can end all the unnecessary suffering that our addictive behaviors have created. We can heal. We can heal and forgive. We can heal and forgive. We will learn to love ourselves and others through the power and practice of Refuge Recovery, which of course in parentheses it says Dharma. So I'll read it that way. We will learn to love ourselves and others through the power and practice of Dharma. What we are recovering is not the ability to drink or use drugs or engage in other behaviors. We are recovering a lost or forgotten part of ourselves. Some call this our true nature or our original goodness. Within each one of us is the potential for wisdom and compassion that has been obscured and buried by our cravings and addictions. The path of recovery, as outlined here, allows us to slowly but surely begin to uncover and directly experience liberating insights and transformative wisdom. When we come to recovery, our minds and hearts are polluted with resentment, anger, fear, judgment, demands, lust, and ignorance. The process of recovery will slowly transform us, stirring up all our impurities, bringing all the muck of to the surface, where it can finally be healed. This is a path that heals the heart and transforms the mind, leaving us with an awakened heart and mind. We have always had good hearts. They were just so badly covered and obscured they were lost to us. By returning to this lost aspect of ourselves, we recover. Many would call this a spiritual awakening, enlightenment, or liberation. Although it may be all these things, it is also just a simple psychological-based process of seeing clearly what is true and then learning how to respond appropriately. The appropriate response ends suffering. Or as I always like to say, make better choices. The appropriate response allows us to recover our freedom. All living beings have the ability to live life along these lines. No one lacks the ability, only the willingness to take on such a radical task of transformation. Addicts who do not recover are not broken or lost. They just have not yet found the willingness to take this path of wisdom and compassion. Or as Cheech and Chong like to say, you gotta wanna. We believe in the human capacity for change. Yes, we do. We understand it from direct experience. If we can, you can. And we have, so you shall too. We know that this may be hard to accept at first. Eventually, you will know the truth of recovery directly, and you will develop verified faith in the process based on your own direct experiences. Until that time, we encourage you to trust the process, practices, principles, and community. Just after the Buddha's final awakening, he reflected on what had led to his recovery of wisdom and compassion. He listed 5 qualities that he had developed. The first thing that he listed was faith or confidence. Oh, I like that. Faith/confidence. He said that although he had no guide, no proof, no certainty, what he did have was confidence in his own ability and in the possibility of human liberation. He went on to list effort, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom as the other factors necessary in the process of recovering our forgotten potential. The path of refuge recovery includes all the qualities the Buddha utilized. We know that this is a difficult thing to ask of addicts who have very often been through a long-term demoralizing struggle. We are also sensitive to our core promise that this is not a faith-based process. Refuge recovery does not offer an experiential-based approach, but to get started, you have to have at least an inkling of faith, confidence, and hope. All the proof we can offer you is our own experience. We are a large group of recovering addicts who have successfully used the Buddhist practices to recover. We invite you to take refuge in the potential of your own recover/awakening Buddha, these 4 truths or the Dharma, and the group of people who have offered you this book and those whom you will surely meet and connect with as you begin to create and attend Refuge Recovery meetings or Sangha. Taking refuge is a simple practice that you can begin as soon as you have read through all of the material and have a good understanding of what is being offered and asked for. When you are ready, after reflecting for a few moments on your own sincere and wise desire to recover, repeat the following phrases. These are the phrases. I take refuge in the potential of my own recovery. I take refuge in the 4 truths and eightfold path of recovery, or Dharma. I take refuge in the community of fellow recovering addicts, or Sangha. So once again, I take refuge in the potential of my own recovery, or Buddha. I take refuge in the 4 truths and enlightened eightfold path of recovery, or Dharma, and I take refuge in the community of fellow recovering addicts, or Sangha. And that's it. And we're right at 20 minutes. Woohoo! And Kitty's now falling asleep, so whatever. Because she's so cute. Hi, I'm super cute. I'm super cute. Okay, I just had to do that. I love you guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Namaste. Oh, wait. Now namaste. Okay.